liberty, and justice for all. Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Joe Carlos, Second Ward.
Jessica Lopez, Third Ward.
Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Matthew Wolver, Fifth Ward.
Ann Schurshin, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody. Tonight's meeting, we have 3 public hearings. Just so everybody knows, when it comes to time for a public hearing, *6 to mute and unmute yourself, and *9 to raise your hand if you'd like to talk during the public hearings. Public hearing number 1 is going to be MHTC Development. Public hearing number 2 will be Hudson Heritage, proposed zoning amendments. Public hearing number 3 will be MS4 annual report. And after that, we're going to have a presentation, Matthew Earl on a Dahlia project on Violet Avenue. Accept the town board minutes for 2020. Appoint Chief Favor, appointment for Chief Favor Police Officer Carl Musili. And appoint Police Officer Fanny Tobin. And authorize supervisor to sign a joint municipal agreement, which will be pulled for tonight's agenda. It's not quite ready, number 7. Number 8, a proclamation for National Tourism Week. 9, authorize a tax search settlement for Casper Kill. Number 10, set a date for public hearing for a towing law. Number 11, appointment to Board of Ethics, Grace May. Number 12, supplemental coverage for Adams agreement for the police department. 13, certificate of attendance for the planning board members. And we have 3 special consents. One is consent to lead agency for Foam and Wash Car Wash. Number 2 is accept the resignation of Thomas Howard from the Highway Department. Number 3, a notice of claim Benton versus the town.
I didn't get any of those at all. They weren't laid here, they weren't in my box.
What the special consent?
Special consents. Unless they're, oh, never mind, they're underneath here.
You have
Never
them? Okay.
mind.
All right. Okay. With this, I'd like to open up for public comment on public hearing number 1. Give me a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public hearing number 1, I've received a written comment from Doreen Tignelli. Please accept the following comment for public hearing 5-6, no, oh, that's number 2, sorry, Doreen. Wrong one. I'd like to open up for public hearing number 1.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Would anybody like to discuss public hearing number 1?
Jeff Kane is here, I know he probably.
Nobody from the public?
Mr. Supervisor, I'm happy to make a short presentation if the board is so inclined.
Go right ahead, Jeff.
All right, I will share my screen. I guess I first do want to thank the board and the staff for holding tonight's meetings. Again, your dedication and perseverance are certainly appreciated. Sorry, trying to share here. Okay, can you see my screen now? Are we,
Yes.
are we on?
Yes.
Okay. So again, it's a zone change that's been presented by MHTC and Industrial Retro, which are 2 of the parties related to Eastdale Village. And the request is to change the zoning designation for 4.6 acres, which are next to Eastdale Village, from the IH or heavy industrial zone to the MHC district zone. That way these acres will match the rest of the Eastdale Village. And this will really align the zoning of the property with its current use. We're proposing stormwater management on a majority of the property. Tax map of the 4.6 acres. You can see Dutchess Turnpike across the top, Route 44. Victory Lane runs along the long dimension of the red box there. That's the Poughkeepsie Business Park on one side, and again the undeveloped portion, so far undeveloped portion of the East Hill Village on the top of your screen. The zoning, again, this is just a part of the MHC zone in green here. This entire parcel, including these two residences, which are not part of the East Hill Village, are all MHC zone, and these red outlined areas are the areas proposed to rezone to match the rest of the green area. We're proposing stormwater management, and this area. There's a connector road, which is proposed to connect East Hill Village to Victory Lane, and then the front portion of it is constrained by wetlands, archaeology. It's really not, these are not really developable parcels in and of themselves. This is an undersized lot as it is in the IH zone. So this is really the best match of the property with the zoning, again based on its use. We received positive recommendation from the planning board, and the county planning has advised it's a matter of local concern.
Is that it, Jeff?
Answer any questions you may have.
Does anybody from the board have any questions for Mr. Kane at this time?
I just have one, just because I'm curious. It's undeveloped, so why was it zoned heavy industrial in the first place? Just because it was adjacent to the what is it called, the Poughkeepsie Industrial Park there?
Right, Poughkeepsie Business Park. Yes, this
Business Park, thank you.
this whole corridor down Victory Lane was all IH zone, and there are certainly industrial uses there. Stanfordville Machine Viking Properties is located here. Poughkeepsie Business Park, active concern, but we've again, as the ownership is their owners in common with East Hill Village, we've realized that it has some value to the project here, as opposed to being developed as an industrial use on the site.
But it is primarily for stormwater management and not for development in terms of building.
That's correct.
All right.
And I will say that the town plan, the comprehensive plan, I really identified kind of a broad area in here to be part of the new town center, and so this is really consistent with the town plan as well.
All right. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any comment, public or town board members?
If you're on the phone, again, you can *6 to mute and unmute, and *9 to raise your hand.
Nobody? If not, make a motion to close this public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Renahan?
Whereas the town board has received an application from MHTC Development LLC Industrial Retro LLC requesting that the zoning for tax parcel number 6262-04-786243-0000, a portion of which has merged with tax parcel number 6262-04-820277-0000 by filed map 11947B, recorded on 3/15/2019, located at 15 Victory Lane, Poughkeepsie, New York, in the town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of approximately 4.6 acres, be changed from heavy industrial (IH) district to McDonald Heights Center (MHD) district, and whereas the proposed amendment is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive verbatim reading of the said amendment, and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. And whereas the change of the zone would involve plus minus 4.6 acres, an action to amend the zoning map is an unlisted action on the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. Whereas on March 4th, 2020, the town board declared its intent to serve as lead agency for the proposed of the purposes of the environmental review of this unlisted action pursuant to secret. And whereas the town board has reviewed the full EAF Part 1 and supplemental materials provided by the applicant and has determined that the proposed rezoning of this 4.6 acres from heavy industrial to McDonald Heights Center will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact. And whereas extension of the MHC zoning district to this adjoining undeveloped land is generally consistent with McDonald Heights Town Center as shown on map 8, centers and green spaces of Poughkeepsie Town Plan 2007. And whereas on April 16, 2020, the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board conveyed a positive recommendation to the Town Board regarding adoption of the proposal on the map amendment. And whereas on April 15, 2020, the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to General Municipal Law 239N advised that the adoption of this map amendment is a matter of local concerns with the due consideration of comments submitted. And whereas the town clerk has notified the clerks of surrounding municipalities of this public hearing pursuant to GML 239M NN, and whereas legal notice of this public hearing was posted on April 22nd, 2020, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on April 24th, 2020, and notices were mailed to the adjacent property owners, and a sign was placed on the parcel proposed for rezoning in accordance with 210-156, and whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie held the duly noticed public hearing on this 6th day of May 2020 at 7 p.m. at the town of Poughkeepsie, Town Hall, 1 over Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. Now therefore be it enacted that the town board as lead agency determines that the rezone of this 4.6 acres from heavy industrial to McDonald Heights Center would not have a significant adverse impact on environmental, and that no environmental impact statement will be required for the reasons set forth in the secret negative declaration for the unlisted action dated May 6, 2020, and be further enacted pursuant to Article 3, 210-11 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Code, that the zoning designation for tax parcel 6262-04-786-243-0000, a portion of which was merged with tax parcel 6204-820-277-0000 by file map 11947B, recorded on 3/15/2019, located at 15 Victory Lane, Poughkeepsie, New York. In the town of Poughkeepsie consists of approximately 4.6 acres, to be changed from heavy industrial district to McDonald Heights Center District, and be it further enacted that said local law shall take effective immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. When we vote on this, we're going to do a roll call on all these tonight, so Felicia can keep track of them. Does anybody have any other comments? If not, Jeff?
Aye.
Mr.
Bill?
Bill?
Aye.
You want me to continue? Jessica?
Aye.
Mike Sifone?
Aye.
Matt Willover?
Aye.
Ann Shershin?
Aye.
Jay Baisley?
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you for your participation, and thank you, Mr. Kane.
Thank you again, all of you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. That brings us to public hearing number 2, Hudson Heritage Proposed Zoning Amendments. Make a motion to open that public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Sifone to open this public hearing. On this one, we did receive a comment from Doreen Tignelli. Please accept the following public comment for public hearing 562 of 2020, Hudson Heritage Proposed Zoning Amendment per the Town Board agenda. I'm against the proposed zoning amendments for Hudson Heritage, as the town zoning code is being amended in numerous places to benefit a particular project landowner and not the community as a whole. It appears that some amendments be less restrictive and have the potential to impact town residents, including but not limited to distant measures for sound impacts and proposed 210-102.B 8 and 9 and proposed 210-104.1B 8 and 9 that could affect occupants and nearby townhome development located on Windsor Court in the town. Now, there's a comment from Mrs. Tignelli. put that into the record.
You don't have to do anything, you just gotta pull it.
Is there anybody else that would like to comment on this public hearing?
Doreen has her hand raised.
Okay.
Doreen?
Jay, this is Doreen. Thanks for reading that. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to be on the call at the time. And just to elaborate a little bit on that, as far as the noise impact, I think that people have to be really careful these days when development is proposed and how it could potentially impact neighbors. Like Fulton Street there's, I know, a lot of houses, maybe like a mile or so away. When we had the Spackenkill High School was going to be putting in some changes, a field, a PA system. That's 1.5 miles from our house, and you wouldn't think you could hear things from there, but you can hear noise from the games and from music. And so especially now with more trees being cut down because of development, you just have to be more careful of the noise impact. So just to elaborate on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Is there anybody else out there in the public that would like to speak on this public hearing?
Carl?
Carl, would you like to speak on this?
It's not.
Anybody like, from the board like to make a comment on this public hearing? No? Make a motion to close this public hearing?
Second.
All
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Carlos?
Resolution number 2. Whereas EFG Sabre Heritage SC LLC, in this document, EFG/Sabre, is the owner of approximately 156 acre site of the former Hudson River State Hospital on Route 9 in the town of Poughkeepsie. And whereas the site is located in the Historic Revitalization Development District, HRDD, under the Town Code of the Town of Poughkeepsie, Town Code, and whereas EFG Sabre is proposing to redevelop the site as a mixed-use, pedestrian-friendly residential and commercial development, the project, whereas on June 5th, 2015, an affiliate of EFG Sabre submitted to the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board, a development master plan application in furtherance of the project, DMP application, along with a petition to amend portions of the HRDD regulations zoning petition. And whereas the town board has served as the lead agency in the coordinated review of the DMP application, zoning petition, and all related project approvals under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQA, and whereas after conducting a multi-year comprehensive evaluation of all potentially significant adverse environmental impacts associated with the project through the preparation of an environmental impact statement, the town board, in consultation with the town planning board, adopted a SEQA finding statement in accordance with 6 NYCRR Part 617, dated December 6, 2017, finding that the project as presented in the DMP application avoids or minimizes potential adverse environmental impacts to the maximum extent practicable by incorporating various mitigation measures and conditions as set forth in the finding statement. And whereas on July 23rd, 2018, EFG Sabre submitted to the planning board an application for interall approval of modified development master plan, the site plan for phase 1 of the project, and preliminary subdivision plat, as well as other various approvals necessary to construct improvements in buildings in phase 1 of the project, in furtherance of the project. And whereas on June 4th, 2019, the town planning board adopted various resolutions adopting SEQA, finding the Hudson River Heritage Project as an involved agency, determining that the applicant's modified development master plan was in substantial conformance with and keeps with the intent of the development master plan approved by the town board on December 6, 2017. And sub 3, issuing conditional preliminary subdivision approval and conditional site plan approval of Phase 1 of the project. And whereas on October 31st, 2019, EFG Sabre submitted to the town board, among other items, a petition to amend various portions of Chapter 210 of the Town Code relating to the HRDD. The proposed zoning amendment shall be referred to hereafter as zoning amendments. And whereas EFG Sabre, in connection with the petition and zoning amendments, a project assessment dated October 18, 2019, and providing a comparison of the HRDD zoning regulations as adopted by the town board in December 2017, and the proposed changes to the HRDD zoning regulation as set forth in the zoning amendments project assessment. And whereas the town board subsequently referred the zoning amendments to the town planning board, along with the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to general municipal law, for report and recommendation on the zoning amendments. And whereas on February 25th, 2020, the town board received a positive recommendation on the zoning amendments from the town planning board, wherein the town planning board suggested various modifications be incorporated into the zoning amendments. And whereas pursuant to the comments of the town planning board and its positive recommendation and suggestion by members of the town board, town staff included several revisions of the draft zoning amendment related to hours of operation for outdoor food service and sound amplification. And such revisions are reflected in the copy of the draft legislation that is attached hereto, and was the subject of a public hearing before the town board as referred to below. And whereas that a written recommendation was received from the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development dated April 15, 2020, stating that the proposed zoning amendment as reflected in the draft attached hereto was a matter of local concern. And whereas the town clerk notified the surrounding municipalities that the town board's public hearing pursuant to General Municipal Law 239-NN. And whereas the legal notice of the town board's public hearing was posted on April 22nd, 2020, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on April 24th, 2020. And whereas on May 6th, 2020, the town board conducted a duly noticed public hearing by video conference in accordance with the New York State Governor's Executive Order 202.1 at sequel, where the public was able to participate and the proceedings were recorded. Now therefore be it enacted that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie hereby finds that the zoning amendments project assessment and associated materials, as well as the comments received from the public, Dutchess County Planning and Development, and other relevant agencies identified above, demonstrate that changes to the HRDD zoning regulations in the zoning amendments do not give rise to any potential significant adverse environmental impact that was not previously identified, evaluated, and addressed in the EIS. And the town board findings statement adopted in December 2017, and therefore a supplemental environmental impact statement, further assessment of the zoning amendments under SECA is not necessary. And be it further enacted that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie, pursuant to a duly noticed public hearing on May 6, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Overrock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby adopt a local law amending Town Code Chapter 210 entitled Zoning, specifically Sections 210-9, 210-30B, 210-102, and 210-104 pertaining to the Hudson Heritage Project. And be it further enacted that the amendment is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendment, does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if it in fact had been read verbatim, and be it further enacted that said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Second?
We got a motion, a second. Any board members have any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to comment that while there is some wording in here about having noise ordinances altered. It's only for the HRDD zone, and I believe this is our only historic zone in the town that has that zoning. So it's only specifically for this area, and what is written is very specific, that within 150 feet, it has to be of a certain decibel level. And if it is not, they can go, and I mean, this is all being broadcast out of buildings or a band or something. They can all be told to turn it down. They can told to turn their speakers down. So it's different than when you have a crowd of people cheering. This can be told to turn it down and quieter. And I'm certainly hoping that the neighbors won't be bothered by this. That it's just trying to make this area more festive. And also, I was hoping somebody from the developer was here, called in tonight, because I'd really like to know, it's also including that they're going to be allowed to have a memory care unit and senior housing, which I think is a good thing and a good addition to this project. But what happened to the hotel and conference center? I really thought that was going to be a really beneficial part of this whole project, and it seemed to have just kind of fallen off.
Still in their commercial advertising.
Just
Okay.
They haven't found anybody who
Yeah.
will take it yet, that's all.
Yeah.
So let us hope,
Yeah.
okay?
Anybody else have any comment on this? If not, roll call.
Jeff Renahan,
Aye.
Bill Carlos,
Aye.
Jessica Lopez.
Aye.
Did you say nay?
Aye.
Okay, sorry. Mike
It's okay.
Sifone,
Aye.
Matt Willover,
Aye.
Ann Shershin,
Aye.
Jay Baisley.
Aye, motion passes 7-0. That brings us
Be it
to...
resolved, that-
No, we have public hearing
be it
number
resolved
2.
that the town board of the town of
Hey,
Poughkeepsie
Jess?
does hereby
Jessica.
accept.
Yeah, we have
Hey,
another
bye.
public hearing.
We have another public hearing.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. It's usually my job to jump the gun. Public hearing number 3 is an MS4 annual report. I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 3.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We have a written-in comment for this one, too, from Doreen Tignelli. Please accept the following public comment for public hearing 563 of 2020, MS4 annual report. Per the town board agenda, I will be submitting written and/or oral comments on the draft report by 4 p.m. on May 15th, 2020. Thank you, Doreen. Is there anybody else that would like to discuss this public hearing? And as we stated, *6 to mute, or *9 to raise your hand.
Nobody here, so.
Okay. Make a motion to close that public hearing?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now it's yours, Jessica.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the draft stormwater annual report prepared by the town of Poughkeepsie Director of Municipal Development, and be it further resolved that the said report has been filed in the town clerk's office for review and comment by any interested party, and has been posted on the town's website, and be it further resolved that legal notice of public hearing was posted on April 22nd, 2020, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on April 24th, 2020, and be it further resolved that on May 6, 2020, a public hearing was held at a regularly scheduled meeting of the town board, and be it further resolved that the public review and comment period ends at 4 p.m. on May 15th, 2020, when all written or oral comments are to be submitted, and be it further resolved that the town board does not direct the Director of Municipal Development to review the comments and prepare filing for the final report, which is due June 1st, 2020. So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on that? If not, roll call, please.
Jeff Renahan,
Aye.
Bill Carlos,
Aye.
Jessica Lopez,
Aye.
Mike Sifone,
Aye.
Matt Willover,
Aye.
Ann Shershin,
Aye.
and Jay Baisley.
Aye, motion passes 7-0. That brings us to the end of our public hearing. The next is a presentation by Matthew Earl on what we used to know as a Dahlia 55+ project on Violet Avenue. Mr. Earl, do you have to unmute yourself?
This is Kelly Leibel, Mr. Supervisor. If it's okay, I'm just going to do a brief presentation before we turn over to the Reynolds Asset Group, if that's okay with you.
That's fine, go ahead.
Okay. First, I just want to also echo what Jeff Kane had said about how appreciative we are of the fact that the town is coordinating these virtual meetings. I echoed that to the planning board last week, and I know it's a significant effort for the staff and for the town board members to entertain this, and we do appreciate it. Being a town resident, I have to tell you that it's probably my proudest movement when you guys were the first municipality to offer virtual meetings. So for us who, our lives depend on these meetings, we're greatly appreciative. With that said, for those who can't see me, I'm Kelly Leibolt, and I had previously represented the applicant for the Dahlia project before the town of Poughkeepsie Town Board and Planning Board, and am now working with Reynolds Asset Group, which is the contract vendee for this particular property. And just as a reminder for those who may be new or a refresher, this project is located on Route 9G. It is an 84-unit, 55 and older community, 6 buildings. It also contains a senior center and approximately 8,000 square feet of space it's called non-retail, but it's professional office buildings and smaller professional service buildings. This project was the subject of the SHOD, the Senior Housing Overlay District, and it's on approximately 7 acres. Access to the site was from Route 9G and also from Sophia's Way, which was a road that was built off of the adjoining subdivision. We have been working with the Dutchess County IDA on the preparation of a proposed pilot agreement, and Mr. Reynolds will discuss this in greater length with you. The IDA has been fantastic in helping us frame the outline for this. We have also been working with the town building department in preparing, hopefully, our pending building permit applications that we're getting ready to deliver on Monday to the town for the 6 proposed buildings. So we're excited about the fact that this project is getting set to be built and has the backing of the Reynolds Asset Group for this development. So with that, I'll turn this over to Lou. He is going to prepare the summary of the pilot agreement. We did provide some written documentation to you earlier this week, and we can put those up on the screen if need be. So Lou, I'll turn over to you.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Thank you for that great introduction. We are coming into this project after it has been approved. It's been approved for some time and unfortunately has not yet been built.
No.
We
Hey,
are
Lou,
coming in
could you
now.
try to speak up a little bit? We're having a hard time hearing you from this end.
Yeah, let me just make sure I'm not, is this any better if I?
Much better.
get really
Yeah.
close?
Yeah.
Closer.
Closer,
Okay,
closer.
just get really close. You'll see me big on the screen. Thank you for your time tonight. We are excited about this project. We think that it's going to be a great addition to the community. It's been a project that has been on the boards for some time, just unfortunately has not yet been started. So we're working with our engineers and our architects to bring this to the city, or to the town of Poughkeepsie, I should say, and to get started with it, hopefully right away. So we're really anxious to get going with this project, probably within the next 75 to 95 days. We anticipate getting started with the construction. And as part of our construction and financing package, we are looking to get a 15-year pilot with the IDA to help with the financing and the suitability for this project to go forward. It's an important piece of the puzzle that we need to complete, and I'd like to present that here tonight, and we can go over a lot of the key benefits I think that will be coming to the town by seeing this project get started. There's going to be a significant revenue generation to the town of Poughkeepsie, significant disposable income to the town of Poughkeepsie, significant tax revenue that will be coming, and everything will be accretive to the town that would not be there if it was not for this project. The current 7 acres is only used by a single-family residence, which is generating very low taxes for the town of Poughkeepsie. So we think that this would be a much better addition, as well as providing an opportunity for people who are 55 plus, who have been in the neighborhood, been in the community for a long time, and maybe no longer need such a large single-family home of their own. They can still remain in their community while opening up an opportunity for a younger family to come in and revitalize their home and bring a sense of community to where somebody was not really utilizing their home or the community as a whole. So Kelly, what would you suggest would be the next item to bring up as far as the presentation this evening?
If the town board has received, Jay, I guess I'm just looking for direction, if the town board had received the documentation that we had provided, and we're happy to put that up on the screen if you'd like us to, and then just go over some of the tables and the information that we provided.
Yeah, Kelly, put it on the screen, because I don't think a lot of them got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you emailed the
Lou,
whole
do you want to
board,
go ahead
but
and do that?
I did not.
Yes, I can share my screen. Is everyone seeing?
Now we
There it
are.
is.
You're up.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me just- Okay. Okay, sorry, the Zoom is blocking my scroll. 1 second, there we go. Okay, so this is, what we're starting off with here is we're starting off here with the presentation of what we anticipate the project to look like. We have a number of renderings which show a number of views, views from Route 9G, and then within the community itself. We're doing a more natural, organic layout of the property, of the building on the property, which was done by the previous developer, and we really appreciate it. That's something that we look for, to have a little bit more of an organic layout within the property itself. So this would be another view of the property. As you can see here, the project location is at 35 Violet Avenue in the town of Poughkeepsie. The total project costs are a little more than $17 million. And the full-time employment that we project bringing to the town through construction and then permanently post-construction is 298 full-time employees. The chart below that is showing us that the current assessed value of the property is $202,500 over a 15-year period of time with escalations for inflation. This would be approximately $140,000 of revenue that the single-family home would produce. The post estimated tax value of the property would be close to $9.1 million, and the 15-year proposed benefit to the community as far as the pilot would be more than $3.5 million over a 15-year period of time. So what I'm showing here is a comparison table between the current single-family home and the proposed multifamily project that we're bringing with the 84 senior center, 55 plus residential housing plus non-residential. Sorry, I have to move my Zoom here again. And non-residential component. So we broke this up into 3 different categories, one being the local income benefits. So what is going to happen, what could be expected of this project to the local community? The property tax revenue, as you can see, and I discussed earlier, over a 15-year period of time would be approximately $140,000. The proposed tax revenue with a pilot in place for the next 15 years would generate close to $3.6 million or $240,000 per annum. That's a gain to the community of $3.45 million in tax revenue. Additionally, The local utilities will also have benefit because they will be selling more services to the community. Single-family home is going to be generating approximately $2,400 a year. Our community will be generating close to $94,000 a year in consumption for utility company. Also, that is something that's going to bring tax revenue to the local community. And third, and we think this is a pretty big impact and something that can really help a lot of the local businesses as well as the local community with their tax revenue, is the sales tax. The impact of that is that with a single-family home, you have one household. One household annually will generate about $684 worth of sales tax revenue to the community. However, with our project being 84 units, we'll be bringing in closer to $57,500 in sales tax revenue. And that's just the sales tax. That doesn't account for the velocity of money being circulated within our community to help small and local business service.
35 Violet Avenue. Where's your phone?
I'm sorry, was there a question? No. The next table down, we're showing here what the local employment benefits could potentially look like. And this has been done, we've done a number of fiscal impact studies, and we've extrapolated a lot of the same work, and we'll be formalizing this with a formal fiscal impact study very shortly, but this is the preliminary numbers which we've come up with our professionals. During construction, we anticipate 254 jobs being created in the community. Post-construction, we anticipate 44 jobs being created. These are jobs that are going to be created because the property itself will have a full-time staff of porters, maintenance, property managers, and leasing agents. Additionally, we're going to have services that we're going to need to require for cleaning, general repairs and maintenance, snow plowing, extermination, a whole host of services for the property itself. But then more importantly, the non-residential areas are going to have employees. We have a number of 10,000 square feet, give or take, of non-residential storefronts and community space. There will be employees there. These will be rented to small and local business operators to provide services to the residents of this project, plus also the surrounding community as a whole. As we go further on down, we have the economic benefits from construction. During construction, the project will be spending approximately $15 million utilizing local construction workers, local purchasing from vendors in the area. So this is $15 million, which is coming back into the community during construction phase. And then post-construction, through estimates on repairs and maintenance and general maintenance and ongoing CapEx expenditure on the property, we anticipate another $5.5 million over the next 15 years. So the total benefit would be over $20 million over a 15-year period of time. I'm sorry, actually over a 17-year period of time, factoring the time of construction. New jobs created. This is a summary view of where we anticipate the new jobs being created and which categories we would anticipate them being created in. We feel that there's going to be 24 new jobs created strictly for the retail component, not including a lot of the other services that we're going to need. The pilot structure, something that is also, I think, important to note is that there is already an agreement in place with the Fairview Fire District. So what we are proposing has no impact because that agreement has already been established, and Kelly can provide more color on this one. Prior to my involvement, this Fairview Fire District agreement was set in place. So then there's a number of items here which do not have any pilot component to them for our purposes. This evening we're talking about the town and county. And you can see here what in the boxed out area, which is showing you the pilot, this is where we anticipate the benefit to the project to happen. This, and then to the right, if you had the non-pilot revenue, you would see, the difference, the effective savings that would take place and then ultimately burn off over the course of a 15-year period of time.
Louis, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah, are you, with the building construction costs down now and loans being what they are, why do you need a pilot for this project?
The pilot makes this project not loan. Construction costs are not down, actually. Construction costs are actually increasing rapidly, much faster than I've ever seen in my nearly 20-year career. What's happened most recently is there's a problem taking place in the labor market where workers are making more money staying home on unemployment than they are actually working, because there is an added benefit given to them. So a lot of companies that I deal with are having a hard time getting workers back to the job, and because we are trying to get these projects done, we have 6 projects currently under construction. We're in the planning stages, about to break ground.
Now,
Our construction costs are increasing pretty rapidly, and also with the supply chain breakdown that's happening right now, a lot of our building materials are delayed pretty significantly, or we're seeing prices increase due to the high demand for materials, but yet there's not a whole lot of supply at the moment. We don't know if that will correct itself in a short period of time or over a long period of time.
Okay, now I haven't seen the documents that you sent, and I'm having a hard time reading them off the screen from this distance, but in your application for the pilot, are you asking to waive recreation fees to the town?
I am not. No, I think that's something that's going to be a big benefit to the town, and I was going to touch on that as well. The recreation fees for this project are going to bring in $180,000 of money now. So this is, I think, something that is a benefit to the community. We like to be we are developers, yes, but we also are a part of the community. And when we build, it's for ourselves. I don't build projects for anybody except for myself. So we are going to be here for a long time. We'll be a part of the community for a long time. And the money that we bring into the community, we would like to hope that it goes to the benefit of everybody.
And Mike, if I could just chime in on Lou's response to that, that the rec fees are actually required in the town of Poughkeepsie at the building permit application. And as I said, we are planning on packaging up our application. We've been working on it quite aggressively for the last few weeks, and we're planning on bringing that into the town next week. So we've been working with the town planning department on the fee calculation and preparing and figuring out how to implement dropping off those checks. So we're going to be bringing fees in as far as inspection fees for the town engineering department, building permit fees for the building permit, and then the rec fees. And if for those of you who are on the town board at the time that this project was approved, there's actually quite a few recreational opportunities that have been designed and are implemented on this project. So in addition to the senior housing facility, there are also a series of outside work areas and recreational areas for the residents. So those fees hopefully, will be used to a good purpose for the townwide residents as a whole.
Kelly, I'm looking at the chart now. School tax is going to be 55 and over. Kids will not live at this development? And
correct. Thank you for bringing that up. If you remember, there's actually a covenant that is filed with the county that mandates that this is a 55 and older community. So as far as the school is concerned, really the impact to them is, I would like to say nothing. There may be some, I don't know how there might be some minor impact. I hate to use such definitive words as nothing, but there's no impact to the school because there's no school-age children at this facility. So I think that Lou did a great job of summarizing where there is no impact. So there is no impact to the Fairview Fire District and the emergency services because of the settlement agreement that was reached with the Fairview Fire District, and no impact to the schools as far as this proposed pilot.
Have they met with the schools at all?
Excuse me?
Has Lou met with the school at all yet on this?
We have not yet. We've been working aggressively with Sarah from the IDA, and she has a lot of experience with the school district. Our hope was, because there is such a de minimis impact to the school district as a result of this project, to meet with the town first and solicit your comments, and then we're proposing to present the same information to the school district the end of next week.
Okay.
I have a question, if I may. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, Jessica.
Yes.
Okay, Louis. Well, two things. One relates to the proposed pilot. I also don't have the documents in front of me, so forgive me, but in one of the earlier slides, you showed the current property taxes that come in. So I'm curious as to how that compares to what the first 4 years at 25% would look like with the approved pilot.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see the screen, but the first year with the pilot in place, the tax revenue would be $147,000. The next year would be $150,000, then $153,000. So the first 4 years, you're really looking at $615,000 of tax revenue versus the current property now at about $8,000.
Got it. Okay, that was what I was curious as to the what versus what it is now. And then my second question relates to the sales tax number that you gave per household, 684. I was just interested in that, how that came across. Is that for the specific demographic that'll be living in this, or is that just like a generic average?
We went a little conservative. I believe that the benefit could actually be more than what I have spoken about. I always tend to be a little bit conservative in my presentation, but we used an average household income of $40,000 per annum. Based on the percentages of disposable income per household, and then spending those dollars, you end up with an annual disposable income of $8,423. It's spending that locally on services, grocery stores, gas stations, hair salons, anything that people might need in their, close to home. We anticipate that's where that revenue would be generated from, is from the sales tax derived from the disposable income that the community would be bringing.
Great, thank you.
Now, along the line of sales tax, when they do apply for the pilot, will they be looking for a sales tax abatement on the purchase of all your building materials and also on mortgage tax? We'd be looking for that too, or just the pilot itself?
At this time, we're really looking for the pilot. There has been no discussion of any other abatements.
Okay. Anybody else on the board have any other questions?
Mr. Supervisor, if I might, they're asking for a pilot, which will be a significant amount of money, and not seeing any of these documents, and several of the other board members have at least had a chance to look at them. So I make a motion to table this until the documents are produced to all of us, and we've had a chance to go through them before we can make a decision.
Bill?
Bill, this is not a vote tonight. This is just a presentation. Their first visit to us, so we got something to think about. We're not voting on anything tonight.
Okay, so they're going to provide the documents?
Yeah, I have them. I can put them up on the web tomorrow in my summary packet. I thought they emailed the whole board, but I don't know.
Put them in the mailbox.
Kind of busy the
It's
last
okay
2
with
days.
me. Just as long as we get them.
Yeah, we'll be getting the
Okay, so
documents,
there's no
Bill.
vote Mr. Supervisor, there's no vote tonight.
No,
No,
correct,
it's just
no.
a presentation.
Yep, this is a presentation, so they know they're working
They were supposed to
forward.
be on the meeting, the committee of the whole, like, a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah, when the last meeting didn't go well, they were taken off the committee of the whole, and they're on here tonight as a presentation. This is not a voting meeting. This is so that you guys will get a chance to look at what they've got on the table, go over the numbers, you get questions, concerns. Once you get them, we can get back to Kelly and Lou on this to let them know where we go forward from here, if it's a project you like or a project you don't like.
That's okay with me.
Anybody else have any comments on this? No? Lou, thanks. You can reach out to us a couple days. I'll try to get you some input.
I thank you very much for your time, and be well, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
That brings us to the end of our presentations. Now we go on the regular town board meeting. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for comment on any item on the agenda.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody have any comments on any items on the agenda?
Doreen raised her hand. Doreen?
Doreen?
Okay, thank you, Jay and Felicia. So, yes, I would like to make a comment here about the
Doreen, is there
Dahlia
any way you
project.
could move a little closer? I can't hear you very well.
Oh, sorry. I would like to make a comment on the Dahlia project. You know, this has been going on, I guess, for almost 7 years now, and they've had many time extensions, and we'll see if they're serious about this. And again, it seems like every single project, or maybe not every single project, many projects that come in these days, everybody wants a pilot. And again, every time there's a pilot, the rest of the town taxpayers have to pick up the slack for that. So, and they never talk about the cost of services. They only ever talk about the benefits. So there's other things to be taken into account. So the other thing I would like to talk about along those lines is the tax cert for Casperkill.
Yep.
I did send the board an email about this, and again, you know, that's nearly $100,000 a refund. Nearly 70,000 of that is for the Spackenkill School District, and you know, $100,000 now has to be spread across certain taxpayers in the town, and you know, there's a lot of financial uncertainty, and you know, people are seeing their own assessments increase. So again, these are you know, all these tax certs and these pilots, they end up costing the other taxpayers who need to pick up the share. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Anybody else? No?
Not that I can see.
Okay. Make a motion, resume the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That would be me.
Number 4.
Yep.
Mike?
Be resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the minutes following 2020 town board meeting, to wit, April 1st, 2020 regular town board meeting, April 15th, 2020 committee of the whole regular town board meeting. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Would you like to do a roll call?
Not for these.
Okay.
Number 5,
Matt?
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Carl J. Nusilli to the position of full-time police officer under the provisions of civil service law at the starting yearly salary of $61,985.79, effective May 25th, 2020, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 26 nor more than 52 weeks per civil service law. And be it further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
we got a
Second.
motion second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Carl, if you're out there, congratulations and best of luck and be safe.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Fanny P. Tobin to the position of full-time police officer under the provisions of civil service law at a starting yearly salary of $61,985.79 effective May 25th, 2020, which appointment is subject to a probationary period not less than 26 nor more than 52 weeks per civil service law, and be further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We got a motion second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Welcome aboard, Fanny. If you're out there,
Yeah, no, there's, She's out there. Congratulations.
Congratulations, good luck, and be safe. Number 7. Number 7 is going to be...
Number 7 is withdrawn.
I was getting to that. Number 7 will be withdrawn at this time. We have some more work to do on it. Number 8 is a resolution for National Tourism Week, which is sort of on hold right now, but whereas travel plays a significant role in the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, and national economies, and whereas a robust travel industry has provided significant economic benefits for the nation, generating more than $2.6 trillion in economic output last year, with $1.1 trillion spent directly by travelers in the U.S. And whereas travel has been the foundation of a healthy workforce, serving as one of the largest private sector employers in the U.S., supporting 15.8 million jobs in 2019, including 9 million directly in the travel industry and 6.8 million in other industries. Whereas spending by travelers has aided state and local governments alike, generating $180 billion in tax revenue last year to support essential services and programs. And whereas visitors in 2018 spent $642.2 million in Dutchess County, contributed $79.7 million in county and state taxes, and created 11,024 jobs, with a combined income of $351.9 million for our friends and neighbors. Whereas meeting events and incentive travel has always been a core business function, helps companies strengthen business performance, educate employees and customers, and reward business accomplishments. And whereas leisure travel, which accounts for more than 3/4 of all trips taken in the U.S., spurs countless benefits to travelers, health and wellness, creativity, cultural awareness, education, happiness, productivity, and relationships. And where business and workers in the travel industry were some of the first and hardest hit by the economic crisis resulting from the coronavirus, and whereas travel and tourism dependent businesses, 83% of which are small businesses, depend on our community support through and after this crisis. Whereas the leaders of our local and state travel and tourism industry truly encapsulate the spirit of our community and our nation. Whereas even while the town of Poughkeepsie cannot welcome visitors in person, the spirit of travel and hospitality remains the enduring ethos of the travel industry in the town and Dutchess County. Whereas the spirit of travel will be a necessary and prominent component of our return to everyday life, and must be supported and protected. Now therefore, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby proclaimed May 3rd, 9th, 2020 as National Travel and Tourism Week in the town of Poughkeepsie, and urges the residents of the town of Poughkeepsie to join in recognizing the important role that this industry plays in the town of Poughkeepsie throughout Dutchess County. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the settlement of the tax certiorari proceedings instituted by Casper Kill LLC for properties located at 2228 South Road, 6159-01-312843, and 110 Golf Club Lane, 6159-02-503995, for 2018 and 2019 tax assessment rolls, as shown on the attached consent judgment and stipulation of settlement. And we have further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee, town assessor Jennifer Mund, and Kyle Barnett of Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP to sign such papers as necessary to effectuate said settlement. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one?
I have a question for the town attorney. Counselor, it says here, as shown on the attached consent judgment and stipulation of settlement. Could you explain what that is, please?
The consent, well, to bring the lawsuit to a conclusion, the parties negotiate as they have. They reach an agreed value, they calculate the refunds, and then they take those documents back to Judge Brands. And what they do is they reduce it, essentially, it's a judgment, but really it's a court order, because it's going to involve representations as to what will be paid and to whom it will be paid and what the agreed values are. So what you're looking to do is have something which records in a central place essentially all the core terms of the agreement.
Thank you. Does that mean that there was a lawsuit filed and this is a settlement?
Yes, I did not personally handle this, my partner Kyle did.
I
but there-
understand that.
If you
And
look
if
at
the
the
board was
index
to
numbers, you
reject-
can see that there were lawsuits for 2 years.
Okay, and if the board was to reject this, it would go back in front of the judge and there would be a decision and a rendering in terms of the amounts, correct?
You would ultimately, if you went to the end, have to, put in for the trial, with the time and the expense that involves. And if a formal appraisals have not been done, you would need to spend the money to do those.
So all in all, this is a simple way and a money-saving way to end this dispute.
Yeah, Bill, it wasn't a simple way. This was a very thorough process. A lot of them are a lot simpler. Jennifer, being that she was new, she went to multiple golf courses, got multiple assessments, and went through it. We went back and forth. They brought numbers back. We sent them back to them 3 or 4 times. And as Mr. Nelson stated, we were at the point is either we come to a settlement to where we were, and the numbers went up from where they originally went, but it was either settlement or go to court. We weren't going any further. And this was definitely a push or shove back and forth for a good 4 or 5 months. I give Jennifer a lot of credit, being it was the first one I dealt with her one-on-one. She did fight back and get the numbers pushed back up. Even through legal advice, we went back multiple times and just kept pushing back and pushing back. We feel we got the best number we could have got out of it.
Jeff, Mr. Supervisor, you told me this before, and I understand that. When I said simple, I'm simply maybe I made it too simple. This settles a lawsuit. If we don't support this, the lawsuit goes on, and the amount of money that's going to happen is going to be set by the judge. Is that a statement that's true?
True. And we could end
Okay.
up in the same place. Yeah,
Worse.
No problem.
yeah. All those in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 10, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 20th day of May, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Overrocker Road, Poughkeepsie, as and for the time, date, and place of a public hearing to amend town code by local law to add chapter 199 entitled Towing, which will replace the town's existing police towing policy. And be it further resolved that the proposed amendments are attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein. And the town board does here waive a verbatim reading of said amendments and does direct that said amendments be spread across the record as if they had in fact been read verbatim. Be it further resolved that after reviewing the proposed local law and an next environmental assessment form, this board determines that the adoption of this local law is an unlisted action under SECA and that there are no other involved agencies, and that it will therefore conduct an uncoordinated SECA review of this local law. And be it further resolved that this said local law, if adopted, shall be promptly forwarded to the Secretary of State and shall take effect 90 days after the filing of the Secretary of State. So moved. Second.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 7-0, and talk about simple processes.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry, I totally, you didn't.
Mike, there.
Yeah, this wasn't easy. Jeff, Bill, thank you for all the time you put into this. Hopefully we'll get, move it along in the near future quickly.
I have a question about it. Does the companies that were involved in it that came, or is there a way somebody has a list of those people so they know it's back on? Because it's been since June of last year. I was just curious.
I don't happen to have a list, but if we put it on our website, trust me, they're all gonna know about it, though.
They will.
The word's out.
Okay, just checking.
They'll be here. They'll be on
I
the
just wanted to
screen.
make sure, because
Hopefully they'll be able to come in person. Hopefully we'll be open for business then.
May 20th?
Well, no, I mean, we're gonna be talking about it for a while, though. We'll have open dialogue on it.
Okay.
It's not gonna pass that night. We're gonna be talking about
I
it.
don't know, but, thank you.
Hey, number 11.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Grace Me to the Board of Ethics to fill the unexpired term of William Paul Green, which term expires on February 28th, 2024. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this? The only thing I want to say is I welcome Gracie aboard. Thank her for, she's a law student, currently studying in New York City. She lives in the First Ward. Thank her for stepping up to the plate. And we've had a couple people on the Ethics Board who've wanted to get off for years, but they hung in there for us. I want to thank Mr. Polgreen for all the years that he gave us there and hanging until the end, and for Jeff working with me on getting this appointment. And it's nice to see some young blood coming into Town Hall and getting this, and hopefully she'll be here in 40 years. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie has entered into agreements for the town police department to provide supplemental on-duty overtime police coverage to local institutions for special events and situations, the expense of which coverage is reimbursed to the town, and whereas Adams Fairacre Farms has requested supplemental coverage during the weekend of May 8th through the 10th, Mother's Day weekend, and whereas the provision of supplemental coverage depends on the availability of overtime officers, the considered judgment of the chief of police and the town receiving an indemnity agreement and insurance coverage, and whereas the execution of the annexed supplemental coverage letter agreement with Adams Fairacre Farms, as well as future agreements, is not part of a new program, it is part of the ongoing management of the town, does not involve a significant reordering of environmental priorities, and therefore does not require a seeker review. And now therefore be it resolved that the chief of police is authorized to execute the annexed supplemental police coverage letter agreement with Adams Fairacre Farms in substantially the form annexed, and be it further resolved that the chief of police is authorized to execute other supplemental police coverage agreements in the future on terms satisfactory to him or her, the town supervisor, and the attorney for the town. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions on this one?
I do. I guess this could be to you, Jay, or if the chief is here. Is this have to do with hurdles due to COVID?
This one in particular, Jessica, yes. They're open Mother's Day, being that the garden is open. They're anticipating a
Right.
large crowd, and they just want to make sure they're up front and ahead of the game in case something does happen with dealing with a large crowd. So they came to the chief a couple weeks ago and asked to iron out this agreement. Anybody else have anything else to say? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 13, be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the certificates of attendance for Rocco Romeo, Bob Nasser, Nicole Jamadi, and Carl H. Whitehead for a 2-hour land use workshop Zoom webinar presented by the Land Use Center, copies of which are attached. And be it further resolved, the town board does hereby accept email confirmations for Bob Nasser and Rocco Romeo for participation in the Dutchess County Planning Federation webinar entitled Conducting Public Meetings During COVID-19 Pandemic. Copies of email confirmations are attached. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit. Consent, foam and wash, car wash lead agency. Second, accept resignation of Thomas Howard, Highway Department. Third, notification, the following notice of claim has been referred to legal, Benton versus Town. Be further resolved that upon objection of any member of the town board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Be it resolved, the town board of town of Poughkeepsie does hereby consent to the town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board acting as secret lead agency. Notice of intent paperwork in its entirety can be found in the town clerk's office for the project known as Foam and Wash Car Wash, 2629 South Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. So moved.
Second.
Been motion and second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does accept with regret the resignation of Thomas Howard, town road maintainer, with the Town of Poughkeepsie Highway Department effective May 16, 2020. So moved.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this? I just want to thank Tommy. He's semi-retiring. I want to thank him for years of service. It was always a pleasure having him around. So I wish him the best of luck on his endeavors going forward from here.
How many years have you worked with the town?
It was over 20 years, wasn't it, Mark?
30 he made.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Wish him well.
Yeah, wish him best of luck. And SC 3 is following the notice of claim for legal Benton versus the town. That brings us to the end of our town board agenda. I'd like to suspend the rules from comment for any item at all.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does anybody like to discuss anything at all?
Doreen?
Okay, yes, so Jay, have you heard anything from the county regarding, revenue from, I imagine they're going to be hit with like less sales tax revenue and, possibly mortgage tax, all those things. So, are you aware of any impacts, to the town as far as getting money from the, county? And I also like to say that I did read that they have a $56.9 million fund balance. And before anybody tells me that fund balances can't always be spent, this is an unassigned fund balance.
Yeah.
So have you heard anything?
Yeah, Doreen, what we've heard so far, we get a mortgage tax report every month. We got our mortgage tax report for April, came in yesterday. The numbers were actually very good for April. So I don't know if that was stuff that was hanging over from February and March that they just closed on. We were told to expect 20 to 30% deduction in sales tax. We do have a contract with the county to basically get our original agreed upon number, which is 1.9 million, but the escalator that comes in based on population, that goes on the increase over what the original amount was. We probably won't see any of that this year at all. And, besides that, Doreen, we're looking at the governor's budget passed where it's possibility that he can still come back looking for AIM money through his reevaluation of budget and CHIPS fund money. So Doreen, we're being extremely conservative on everything we spend. We're watching every number. We're not doing anything unnecessary. We are doing projects that have to be, move forward. You can't stop everything. There's things that we have to do to progress the town. But I meet with Charlie on a weekly basis to see where our numbers are. We've had department head meetings, the first of the month. We've had meetings in between on where we stand going forward with this and keeping things as tight as possible.
And then I just have one other question. I know that every time I bring up about the tax certs, I know, Bill, I think you usually try to make the point that if you went to court, it could cost you more money. But is there the possibility that the amount set by the judge could be less?
Doreen, in some cases, yes. This one was very thorough. The legal team that was working on it stated, what the number should have been, and Jessica and myself said we had to go back. We went back and we pushed further. We tried most times to push not to give any refunds, so they didn't go back as far as they wanted. So in this case, with a golf course and being the way the golf market is going down, the bad thing about commercial is it's not always just based on the value of the property. They have to bring in their income and expenses, and that makes an effect on what the actual value of the property is. So some of these aren't hard. I will say, Jennifer is fighting hard with us on some of these. We've got quite a few that we've eliminated, that they haven't come back, or they were real small deductions, or there was no paybacks. But we're seeing a lot, and we're going to have to see. You talk about sales tax and stuff. The phone has been ringing off the hook about people worried about grieving this year, whether commercial or residential. And we're seeing a lot of commercial calling that they're worried about people not opening, which means there is no income in that spot anymore. So we will probably see a lot more grievances next year and possible, tax cert requests going forward, because it is not setting a rosy picture out there for anybody, as everybody's struggling. We've got calls from the mall on down about possibility of up to 25, 30% of their businesses not coming back. So this is an ongoing battle that we've worked very closely with Jennifer to keep an eye on and keep us abreast of where we go with these numbers to make sure we're extremely careful on what we're doing and talking to these people and working things out. And as far as grievance day this year, being that it is, we're still in COVID, town hall is not open, grievance day will be televised live. We will have all the grievance meetings will be televised live, so if you want to watch those meetings in action with the grievance board, they'll all be televised the whole day live on our community channel.
Well, I do appreciate the fact that you are trying to keep, expenses down for town residents. But again, everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are going to be hurting, and that's why you really have to, keep in mind that the tax certs and these pilot programs affect just regular people that may not have any resources. So, thank you.
I agree. You're welcome. Is there anybody else?
I wanted to make one little comment about Casperkill. I know that for a while now, several years, I think, the owner has been trying to move forward with developing part of that parcel into more of a use than the golf course that it's been. It's into residential mixed use community. They've been having a slow time of it of late because we've been in the middle of our master plan redevelopment process. So, and it would require quite a significant zoning change, and it's been kind of sticky to make that happen while we're still in the master plan process. But I know they do have like plans in the works for that parcel that would make it even more tax lucrative in the future. So, just wanted to mention that.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything? If not, motion to resume the rules?
Second?
So,
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
Hi.
I'd like to thank everybody for a very progressive meeting. I'm glad it all went well. Please watch the news, and board members, please contact us, because we are meeting on a regular basis with the county on the reopening of Dutchess County. So I'd like to fill you all in, so if you could give us a call, we'll fill you in where we're going from here and some of the things that we may have to put in place to open back up and get the county back up and moving. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.